Almost loading. Good morning. We are live. Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel from the Biz Advisors, and today we are talking about the power and art of communication via video. I have someone very special with me in the room today. So get excited to meet the CEO and co-founder of the Podster, Vuk. So Vuk, thanks so much for coming with us to talk today.
Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here.
Good morning. So it's so nice. We have we're always giving people tips and tricks about how they're going to make their life a little bit more impactful when it comes to any relationship that they engage, whether it be finding a job, getting a sales lead, creating customer experience, and really building a brand. And I firmly believe there's no other way than doing it via video because people really get the essence of who you are. Wouldn't you agree?
No, absolutely, and I couldn't actually agree more. Podster is the baby that was born out of me and my co-founder Ivan, desperately looking for a solution to solve a few problems that we were having as business owners, and turning to podcast, more particularly in video podcasts. Solved a lot of those. So I'm quite passionate about the power of the videos and what videos and how videos can influence your personal brand, but also business as well.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit more. I want to get a little deeper than that. How did Podster come up? I mean, you said you saw a problem in the industry, but were you, into video previously?
So it's funny. So my background comes from technology, and I run a software development company for the previous almost 10 years now in the region. So back in 2019, both me and a good friend of mine, Ivan, who is the co-founder of Podster, who runs a media company, both of us were struggling with a few things. And number one, we were struggling with the brand exposure for our business, for both of our businesses, his business Evans Media and my business Creative. So we've been in the market for 7 to 8 years already, but we felt that the exposure that we had towards the industry was not really strong enough. Our presence was not strong enough. So that's number one. Number two, we were struggling to produce enough content to be out there all the time, because after a few years of publishing your portfolio projects on social media, and sharing tips here and there, and then celebrating birthdays of your employees, you don't really know what to post anymore. You need to come up with some new ideas of what I'm going to be, what's going to be the next post on my Instagram. So we're struggling to produce enough content. Producing content takes a lot of time and a lot of effort if you want to do it the right way, right? So that was number two. And number three, we were struggling to connect with right people. When I say right people that could influence our businesses, so decision makers in the companies that we can close business with. So we came up with this idea: why don't we start a show in a form of a podcast conversation interview style that we would use as a platform to connect with these certain individuals, instead of reaching out to them as with a cold outreach email and saying, hey, we're the best software development company in town, let's have a coffee. And then they'll be like, okay, who are you to have a coffee? That I'm going to have a coffee with you. Stand in the line. Like there are hundreds of other software development companies. By inviting them on your show, the angle changes completely, and all of a sudden you're providing them the value, you're turning them into a rock star, and in most cases they say yes. And that started working like magic for us, and we managed to connect with a lot of people. Now, the reason why we managed to connect with all of them is because all of a sudden we portrayed the image of an established platform, media outlet, because we leveraged the power of video and the power of media, build authority, and use that authority to approach them from a completely different angle. So it really worked like a charm. And at the same time, it solved other two problems. So all of a sudden, we had more content that we could publish, because we turned every episode we turned into hundreds of pieces of content. And then third problem that we had was we had a massive brand exposure all of a sudden, because every week we were out there on LinkedIn publishing conversations that are relevant for our audience, and slowly positioning ourselves as an industry influencer, thought leader in the segment that we wanted to target. So I really see it as the major hack of our careers. If you look at the investment that you're making for producing something like this and the returns that you're getting.
Fantastic. And so I'd like to first say good morning. I know people are jumping into the group, and so we invite you to ask any questions that may come up if you're considering doing podcasting or recording on any level, shape, or form. Nowadays, Podster is making it possible that it's tangible. You can do it for your own business. You can do it within a business. You can do it in so many different ways, and you can do it really affordable. So I want to highlight this. But let's talk about the businesses that are not leveraging video. What are they missing out on?
Well, look, obviously, we are currently working in the age where we are exposed to so many different platforms and social media and the networks. And standing out in the sea of other businesses is notoriously difficult these days. Content is one of the most powerful ways of building trust and the authority with your audience. But again, there are different types of content. Now, the power of video is that video is, in a way, window to your business culture, your expertise as an individual, and your personality. Most of business is closed based on trust, right? And most of the long-lasting relationships are based on trust. It's difficult to buy someone trust with a static type of content, blog, vlog, text. These are image static stuff. These are the types of content that are not portraying really your authority, your expertise, and it is something that is, in the eyes of the viewer, relatively easy to replicate or to copy. Seeing someone on video is giving you the opportunity, or giving the audience the opportunity to really buy into your personality, build that trust with you, which is then leading to a conversion in a way that they're going to reach out, or they're going to start following you and eventually convert. So that's number one thing that everyone is missing if they're not doing video. One of the reasons why nobody is doing video is because most of the people are, number one, afraid to get in front of the camera, which is solvable. And number two is because the process of producing video seems very difficult and time consuming. So they need to leverage ways of doing it more efficiently. So I think that's one of the key factors that is influencing your business and the reasons why they're not doing it. Secondly, what I wanted to mention about video production and what everyone is missing is the video as a source. Everyone is talking about posting a lot of content. If you're following Gary Vee and all of these other gurus, they're saying like publish 100 pieces of content a day, and there is a reason for that. But producing 100 pieces of content is very difficult. So the easiest way to produce 100 pieces of content, let's say for a month, is if you record your pillar content, which is like 60 minutes of video, and then transfer it to hundreds of pieces of unique individual content, which can be an image, which can be a snippet of the video, which can be a blog post. So if you do it right with video production, for investing 60 minutes of your time to record something, you are eventually ending up with 100 pieces of content that you can use to engage your audience for a whole month. So that's one of the major benefits of really doing the video, to solve your content distribution and content creation part of the business.
Fantastic. Well, guess what? We got a first question, which is great. So Sala, thank you so much for joining and jumping into the conversation. We love this engagement and encourage everyone else to jump in as well if you have any questions. She's saying, good morning. Wanting to know a little bit more about how, the insights of, with so many podcasts around, hundreds, if not thousands, and you're right, how do you make sure the podcast stands out in the crowd and can be sustained? Great question. What do you have to say there, Vu?
It is a great question, and we're getting that question almost on daily basis. Well, look, disclaimer: there is no magic trick to make a successful podcast to stand out and to sustain it. Number one, it is commitment and persistence to doing so. However, there are two aspects or two parts of my answer here. And number one is focus on providing value, and this is where most of podcasters make mistake from the get-go, including myself. I made that mistake at the beginning, and for 100 episodes that I recorded, I never actually thought about deeply and truly whether I'm providing value or not. Providing value comes from planning. You need to make sure that every episode that is being produced and released is delivering on the promise that you gave them with your show and providing value in every episode, which means that if you're running a show that is promising with its name and its premise description, that is going to give you actionable tips on how to market your business, you need to make sure that in every episode you actually do provide actionable tips on how to market your business. Now, what we all naturally tend to do when we run our shows, we start enjoying our conversation way too much with the guest that is in the room, and we deviate from the plan and the content, and we end up talking about life. Now, while that conversation can be interesting to a small portion of people, this is not why they came to your show. So making sure that you constantly deliver on the promise that you're giving with your show is one of the major factors that are impacting the success of your show. Now, the second part of my answer, success, or what is the success of the show? People underestimate the power of podcast listeners or the numbers. So having hundreds podcast listeners, by all means, in today's age, if we are taking social media as a benchmark, getting 100 views seems like nothing. Like, why am I even doing this? But if you put the conversation in a different perspective and say, imagine that you're in the room at a conference that you paid, $10,000 to be an exhibitor in, and they gave you, 15 minutes of time on stage to deliver a keynote. If you would see 100 people in the audience in that room, you would be amazed. Because very often on these conferences, you see 5 or 6 or 10 at most listening to you. So numbers that are going from 100 to 1,000 in the podcast world are having a much bigger impact than in any other on any other platform, and it shouldn't discourage people from continuing producing the show. So to answer your question again, number one, focus on providing value, and number two, how to get it sustained. Don't get discouraged by the lower numbers that you're seeing, and don't compare your numbers with the social media, because even having 50 to 100 downloads of your episode is impactful, because you only need one person from that crowd to reach out, and you're going to get the return on the whole investment that you're making.
I love that. So thank you. And, I always like to say, it's just when you think about top of mind, what are your objectives, right? If your objective is just to be top of mind, then people need to see your face. And so you're essentially marketing yourself. But more importantly, I love to tap into how businesses are using it internally, because you have the outside customers, you also have the inside customers, about how businesses can actually drive value through video, because I think there's a huge opportunity there for businesses to really leverage. What do you think?
No, absolutely. I mean, look, video is by far the most efficient way of communicating. What we witnessed so far over the last few years with Podster and at Ivan, with Evans Media and Castvio, video can be used to replace almost any type of communication, whether that's board reporting on monthly basis, on quarterly basis, yearly reports. Everything is way more efficient with video than with any other type of content. But obviously, so engage with multiple enterprise level companies and small and medium sized businesses. We noticed the trend of people turning towards video for multiple different goals. One is culture building. Many organizations today are turning towards video and documenting conversations between the leaders in the company on the company culture, in order to spread the message with the rest of the organization. Number two, thought leadership series. Recording a series of videos on a certain topic, on a certain industry, providing value to your audience in order to buy that trust on the long run. People are usually buying from the brands that are providing them value. And over time, by producing a series on a certain topic, continuously providing value to your audience, chances are very high that they're going to eventually turn towards you for advice. So yeah, in general, I mean, we've seen multiple different use cases, and in most instances, the returns that people are getting on video communication are massive.
Amazing. Well, guess what? We just hit that 15-minute mark, which means our LinkedIn Live has come to an end. But I want to leave, like you said, give value. And so these listeners that have tuned in with us today, thanks so much. Abdul's here, so nice to see you. Nella's here. Sola, thank you so much for joining. But what are 3 tips that our listeners can leave today and implement tomorrow when it comes to video communication?
Number 1, start small. Do not try to make big plans that are going to scare you and then you will never act. Number 2, focus on providing value. So try to provide at least one valuable piece of information per every video that you produce. And number 3, trust the process and be persistent.
Amazing. Can't thank you enough so much for being here, Vuk. It's really nice to have you and your expertise. Podster, where you could rent out the video space and you could run your own videos at your own time, space, plan, and edit. Everything there needed that you need for video communication is available here in the UAE. So well done for your accomplishment and helping all these communication tools for all these professionals in our cities. Thanks again. Just want to thank everyone else for joining us. That's Rachel from Smart Impressions. See you next time, next Tuesday at 10:30. Be there or be out of touch. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.